I was elected first time 2019 to the European Parliament, and outside my office there is a poster saying cut bureaucracy, create more jobs. Therefore I think this is a very good day for me personally, but not least for European businesses and for good paying jobs across Europe. Let me put it a bit into context. Europe has a huge growth problems. We are falling behind more or less all of the different big economies around the world. It's hard to compare exactly, but it's good to compare with the US because we developed our economy historically the same way, in the same time basically. And they outperform us hugely at the moment. And they have been doing so for the past 15 years. And we have to fix this. And I think there are five major things that we have to do to fix this. First of all, our internal market. There are still things we can do with the internal market to facilitate trade within Europe. Second, energy. Our energy cost is too high in Europe, and we have to work on that so that our energy-intensive industries are getting more competitive. Then we have the international trade perspective, because if the rest of the world is growing more than Europe, then we have to find a way to tap into that growth. And we do that with our free trade agreements, and that's why the Mercosur agreement, the Mexico one, and all the ones that we are negotiating are so important to pass. Then, fourth, we have the capital market. Access to capital is still a problem for European businesses, and we need to fix that. And finally, and the reason we are here today, is simplification. We have been too bureaucratic, and we need to realize it, and we need to cut costs for businesses in order for us to come back to growth. When we started this process, I said that my ambition is to cut costs more than the Commission proposal did, and I think we have delivered on that now. I believe, I'm not too sure, but I believe that this is the legislative proposal, the single one that cut most cost in the European history, actually. It's, according to the staff working document of the Commission, 4.7 billion yearly for businesses. And with the changes the Parliament now has decided, it's even more. We don't know exactly, but it's even more. So in the ballpark of 5 billion euros yearly. On the content, what we voted today, I would say it's a very reasonable content. It's not too far either from the Commission than from the Council, even though, of course, there are differences. In scope, we are very similar to the Council position. We have increased the scope in CSRD. It's 1,750 employees, and they have 1,000 employees. When it comes to the civil liability issues, it's exactly the same as the Commission's proposal and as the Council also has adopted. When it comes to Article 8, which is how you do the due diligence process, we have a different model than the Council. So negotiations certainly have to be done on Article 8. And finally, on the climate transition plans, the language is not touched at all when it comes to CSRD, but we have a deletion of the climate transition plans in CSDDD. There are currently, I think, seven legislations that calls for a climate transition plans. We didn't think it was necessary to have an eighth one. And since there is still a language on climate transition plans in the CSRD, I think it was the wise thing to cut costs for businesses in CSDDD and not include a ninth climate transition plans. When I met a business last week, they said, well, it cost us money to do those climate transition plans. We would like to take those money from producing the climate transition plans and put it into research and development so that we can sell products and solutions that actually cut emissions for Europe globally. On the votes, you have probably seen the votes. It was 382 pluses, 249 minuses, and 13 abstentions. So a very solid outcome of today's vote. EPP were almost united. We had, I think, one member not voting for and one abstention. I'm really happy that also Renew, a large part of Renew, I think around 25% of the Renew colleagues supported at the end, and 12 or 13%, something like that, for SND. So a very strong mandate from the Parliament. And let me finish off with the next step, because the next step, of course, is the trilogues. We will start already on Tuesday, and I myself and my team, we are prepared to work 24/7 in order to finalize this by the end of the year. This is important of two reasons. First of all, we have the stop the clock process, and we need to finalize it before the end of the year in order to keep our timeline. But most importantly, we have to give companies the predictability that they urgently need on what rules will need to be there. So with that, I hand over to you and to the Q&A.